Hey guys, welcome back to Grace Junction Homestead. I'm out here in the garden pruning. As you can see, I'm getting a little crazy. Going crazy on my tomatoes. Let me start with what I'm doing with my tomatoes. This is actually something new for me, and I don't know how well it's going to work, so we're in this together, guys. With tomatoes this particular way before because I haven't lived in an area that had so much wind. I mean, we lived in Nebraska on top of a hill, and obviously we got tornadoes and we got storms, and you know, we had wind just blow things around. But I've never I've never grown so many indeterminate tomatoes. You know, my plants were a whole lot shorter, and they were trellised shorter, and they were trellised differently, so I didn't have to deal quite as much with extreme wind as we do up here on the ridge. We are pretty high up, and anyway, so what I'm running into is above my fencing, my tomatoes keep flopping over. And you can see over there, they're propped up by sticks, and you know, I've shown you that before. Anyway, so what I'm trying to do is keep my tomatoes below here, or really close to it, so that I can keep them, you know, zip tied up to, the trellis. And usually I'm zipping them all the way up here, and I probably will at some point later. And I'm also trying to keep some of the foliage off from up here so it doesn't act like a kite and catch the wind and take off with it. So what I'm doing is I'm letting the tops of them get to where they flower, and then just nipping them off, and keeping off any, you know, big foliage that's up here so it doesn't catch the wind. And I'm kind of doing that with most of them. And I'm noticing as I've done this, as I've nipped off the tops, that they're sending out a whole bunch of crazy shoots, and I'm getting a lot more fruit from my plants. And that's probably realistically how you're supposed to do indeterminates, but I just never really took the time to learn about them. So if you're not real familiar with indeterminate tomatoes, this is what I'm doing, and I'm trying it, and hopefully it'll work. So yeah, as you can see, can you zoom into that? These have just put off flowers, and there was a little bit of plant that was above there, so I just nipped it off just right above there. You see that? And then I went ahead and took off this leaf that was shooting out here, and then it's got a little sucker that's coming out, and I don't want that guy. But if I nip that off, as you can see, there's like a little tiny sucker that's coming off of here, which this is so funny for me because suckers have always been my enemy. But this year, with my plant struggling so much, and there's another one coming out. So once you nip off the top of these, they're going to start just sending out a whole bunch of suckers, and you'll end up with more plant. So, I mean, it makes for an ugly tomato plant, but I think there's actually a sucker off of this plant. You see it's between the stem and the leaf there. So that shoot right there is actually a sucker. And it's, you know, it's put off some flowers, and I nipped it off, and then there will be another sucker that comes up. And as you can see here, I got that one that put out fruit and flowers, and then I've got a little bit there and a little bit there. You see, I'm just cutting it off. And now once these come ripe, then I'll just cut it off way down here, or even lower, wherever I can stop it to be able to get flowers or fruit that just come up to here. Because right here is my goal. Keeping it all below the fence or just right at it is my goal. Have a blessed day, guys.